Hello. So it's been a couple days since I've updated the blog, and the funny thing about it is that a lot of times I do film, but it just doesn't come together in a narrative that's necessarily compelling. It's usually when I'm doing a lot of commuting or something. Anyways, that aside, it is Monday. So we're gonna start a new segment, and this one's called Considering the Opposite.
The doors OPEN, take the hot road and
Alright, so consider the opposite. Since this is the first time I'm doing this, I'll lay out some ground rules. So basically what I'm going to do is I will talk about something that has happened or something that I've read, and then I will consider the opposite. Now, there's no such thing as an absolute opposite, so you could also call this game Considering the Alternative. But for the sake of names, let's go with Consider the Opposite. Alright, so let's get started.
request my chariot, get ya. The doors OPEN, take
Alright, so yesterday I saw the movie Atomic Blonde. So initially I was thinking to myself, Atomic Blonde was a bad movie. Now, I'm not hating on it specifically, but rather than just say, oh, it sucks and that's what I tell people, I started thinking about, well, what if I thought it was a good movie? What was good about it? Alright, so what was good about Atomic Blonde?
smoking up. Make sure the children in the house, she's inappropriate. The way she's approaching us.
Alright, so if we're considering the opposite of why Atomic Blonde was bad, the first thing that I really like and I thought was good were that the fight scenes were good. Why were they good? They were good because they were long, they were well choreographed. I think the cinematography was spot on. You got an air of chaos, but you got to see a lot of the following through. Reminds me of the old martial arts movies where they'd follow a fight scene rather than cut a million times like they do in a lot of the superhero movies. So the fight scenes were good.
Open up, tell you how far.
Alright, why else was Atomic Blonde good? So Charlize Theron, awesome. Badass lady, super good in the movie. She has great range, very intense. Fight scenes were convincing. Her dialogue was convincing. Okay, so Charlize Theron, awesome.
Need to read.
Alright, and finally, because I like to do things in threes, the music was fantastic. So there's a lot of music from like the 80s, early 90s, and a lot of that music is tough to make cool. So a lot of it was remixed, which was awesome. But the music was perfect. The levels, the way it was mixed, the timing, it was great. It really set the mood, the way it faded in and out sometimes, depending on what was happening in the film. Awesome. Music was great.
Engaging you's on my agenda. Request.
Alright, so considering the opposite gives me a few ways, rather than thinking Atomic Blonde was bad and leaving it at that, I actually say that Atomic Blonde was a good movie, and here's why. The music was awesome, Charlize Theron was great, and the fight scenes were awesome. So this way, I've sort of created a more positive idea around that movie, and I'm less negative. And this is something that I've been striving for recently. One of the exercises I do is if I have a negative opinion about something, well, consider the opposite. Consider it was a good thing. What's good about it? And then this way, rather than misrepresent it, because if people say, well, the dialogue was crummy, I would say, yeah, you know, the dialogue wasn't that great. It was a little too cool sometimes, where I just needed information about the storyline, and I have to sort of sift through how cool the characters are saying it. And I thought it was a little hollow. But if someone asked me now if I thought Atomic Blonde was a good movie, I'd say yeah, it had all these great elements to it. Sure, it was a good movie. You gotta reserve your negative opinions. You can't have too many of those, because then you just overwhelmingly become a negative person. You know, everything sucks for some reason. So I like to pick and choose the things that suck. See previous episodes of things I'm not a fan of. Try to make those my more nuanced opinions, the things I don't like, and then the things I'm really passionate about. So I equate those two things. And then most stuff is in the middle, instead of always being negative or positive about stuff. Anyways, this was a fun segment. Leave in the comments if you want me to talk about other things, or if there's segments that you like. Thumbs up if you like the structure, why not? Feedback's cool. And I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.